And here's the part your doctor probably didn't have time to tell you or explain to you during your 12-minute appointment before writing the prescription. Your penis isn't the problem, it's the messenger. You see, erectile dysfunction is one of the earliest, most reliable warning signs of cardiovascular disease that exist. It can show up 3 to 5 years before a heart attack, before chest pain, before the ER visit, before the diagnosis, that can change everything. And most men treat it like it's an embarrassing inconvenience to medicate away instead of what actually is. It's a symptom, a signal. Your body's early warning system going off. I always say that your body talks to you, just gotta listen, right? So today we're gonna talk about why that happens, what the actual research says about reversing it, and why the gym might be doing more for you than the little blue pill ever will. And they have them honey packs too. All right, check it out, man. So here's what it is, right? We're gonna be like real blunt and straightforward with this topic. I think a lot of men uh run away from it, but it's something that is a signal if we can respond to it in an appropriate fashion, a timely fashion, that we can prevent a lot more uh illnesses or the side effects that come along with this, with ED. All right. So, an erection is a hydraulic event, right? Blood vessels dilate, blood flow, tissue engorges, meaning enlarges, right? So, that happens efficiently. For that to happen efficiently, blood vessels involved need to be able to do one specific thing well, relax and expand on command, right? So that's called endothelial function. The endothelium being a thin layer of cells, cell lining every blood vessel in your body, right? That's why it expand like your heart. So uh here's a detail that changes how you think about this, right? The arteries supplying the penis are smaller in the arteries supplying your penis are smaller in diameter, right, than the coronary arteries feeding your heart. But everything is connected, right? So follow along. So some researchers, call this the artery size hypothesis, right? Same underlying disease process, atherosclerosis, plaque buildup, stiffening vessels, right? But it shows up in smaller pipes first, simply because they clog and lose function before the bigger ones do, which makes sense, right? And the easy way to look at your body as a system, a circulatory system, whether it's a piping system, electrical system, it is a system, right? Energy needs to flow, right? So think about it like that. So when erectile function starts declining, especially in men under 60 with no obvious cause, it's often not a testosterone problem or getting older. It's a vascular health problem wearing a very personal disguise. All right. This is why blood work is important too. But like I said, and I continue to stress that everything is connected. All right. So now you're gonna see the cascade effects of not taking care of your health, right? So there's a lot of factors in that can cause ED, right? Uh, it is so heart disease because it's the same, it's linked. So obesity and excessive visceral fat. Visceral fat is fat around the organs, right? Insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, right? High blood pressure, high LDL cholesterol, smoking, sedentary lifestyle or behavior, meaning you sit down a lot, poor sleep, chronic stress and elevated cortisol. That's just to name a few, right? So, of course, it's a judgment free zone, but I'm your brother from another mother, so I got to keep it a buck with you, right? But not every case of ED is purely vascular. All right. So the medication side effects, certain physiological factors like low testosterone, nerve damage, and relationship and performance anxiety all play a role for some men. I'm gonna talk about performance anxiety a little bit later, right? And that generally worth a real conversation with a doctor, not a Google search at 1 a.m. So this is why I stress men on taking or going to the doctor at least once a year. Shit, if you can't do it twice a year, just cause. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to express certain things of what's going on in your body with your doctor. And if you're unsure, if you feel like your doctor's being shady, as they shouldn't, but sometimes it's always good to get a second opinion as well, you know? All right, so there's other cases too, like age, weight, lifestyle, that points in one direction, right? But this is a cardiovascular and metabolic issue first, right? This is why they always say go to the gym. So, which means it responds to the same interventions that fix cardiovascular and metabolic issues. So that's what I think before you go on any other type drugs to always work on those foundational stuff too. Your diet, lifestyle changes, things like that, etc. All right. So boom. This should get you guys excited, not discouraged, right? So there's a well-known study, Esposito and colleagues published in JAMA back in 2004 that took obese men with erectile dysfunction and put a portion of them through a structured lifestyle intervention, weight loss, increased physical activity, improved diet. Roughly 1 in 3 of those men saw meaningful improvements in erectile dysfunction within 2 years. Not from a prescription, from losing weight and moving their bodies. Really? I'm so surprised. Right? Separately, aerobic exercise has been shown to directly improve endothelial function by increasing nitric oxide production, right? And this is funny too, because a lot of these medications that you take have nitric oxide in them. Because what nitric oxide does is relaxes the blood vessels for you to expand. So you could take like citrulline, some say combination with arginine, or beetroot powder. Right, you hear there's a lot of buzz about beetroot is because of the nitric oxide. Even like pomegranates, watermelons, things like that can help you relax your blood vessels so you can expand more, so you can feel it can take in or hold more blood, right? So that's basically it. Just enhances the system that's already supposed to be working. That's what these drugs do. But if you do it the right way, you can do it on command, right? So the exercise trains the system to work in the first place. That's why, because you're going to need more blood flow and more oxygen throughout your body to keep up to well with your performance. That's why we always stress working out. All right. So the research is showing that consistent aerobic training, that's like cardio, right? Even moderate intensity, 150 plus minutes a week for improving vascular flexibility and nitric oxide availability. Resistance training for the downstream effects of insulin sensitivity, body composition, and testosterone regulation. More muscles help with insulin sensitivity, body composition, you have less fat, and it helps around the visceral fat, right? But it's going to say it right here. Weight loss when there's excessive visceral fat involved, because visceral fat is metabolically active tissue and actually worsen insulin resistance and inflammation. Though it's simple, y'all. Get your ass moving around the gym. Stop being lazy. Take care of yourself. Can't be out here asking ladies to look good. We got to set the standard. You know what I'm saying? And not just for women, just for yourself too. You want to be around for a long time. Shit is simple too. Instead of start, we got to get out of this. Yeah, this is a rant. Get out of this mindset of yo, I just take a pill for this. Even with the medication that they prescribe to us, there is long-term effect. 'Cause it should be damaging your kidney and liver and all kind of stuff. You don't want to be dependent on this. What your body should be doing it naturally. Now, if you're doing everything you're supposed to do and you're still having problems, then you can get a little assistance. I have no problem with that. Then I could be like, okay, I understand. But outside of that, get your ass up and move around, man. Real talk. It ain't that serious. Now, this is where it's really at, the nutrition part, right? Because you want to have a heart healthy eating diet. Some talk about the Mediterranean lifestyle or their diet. When I say that, it's really about like high in leafy green, nitric rich vegetables like beets and spinach, olive oil, fatty fish, nuts, berries, like that. Because the nitrates specifically matter because they have a direct precursor your body converts into nitric oxide, right? We just talked about that. So that's really the key to blood flow, nitric oxide. All right. So on the flip side, diets high in refined sugar and processed food drive the insulin resistance and inflammation that damage endothelial function in the first place. Check out my video that I did, whole foods versus processed food. All right. I did. All right. So it's no miracle food. It's just about eating patterns that protect your heart and protect everything downstream as well. Okay. So hold up. So now this is for my trainers. If you're a trainer, like I am, right? Because this is something that I start doing with my male clients as well, or men clients as well. I start bringing it up with them. Like I constantly ask them how their diet. Of course, I can see it too on them when I'm training them. Like obviously, I'm gauging them and see where it is. Because I know sometimes we feel like this topic is a little bit taboo or people a little bit embarrassing, but we have to take our reproductive health a little bit seriously. You know, you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it, right? Can't do it if your gardening hose ain't really garden, you know? You got a limp biscuit. It ain't happening, right? So, because most times the chief complaint is really the underlining uh comment under when you do your assessment, you're speaking to your male clients, they always talk about, oh, I just want to lose my gut, I want more energy, you know, but it's something, there's more that's being said in the words, right? But it's also what's not being said. Really, they got problems. And that leads to your pipe not really working well. You know what I'm saying? And don't make the mistake or not even make the error. Don't be an error and try to diagnose them because that's not what we're here for. That's above our pay grade. You know what I'm saying? Advise them to go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? But tell them to take their cardiovascular health a little bit more seriously. You know, and try to just frame it in a way that it encourages them to want to do that. All right. So, like I said, it's more so this isn't a taboo topic. It shouldn't be because it's vascular health that happens everywhere and it's personal as well. But it's something that needs to be discussed. And I think as personal trainers, we're at the forefront or one of the vanguards in the health and wellness space. You know, I like to say preventive medicine. You know, and sometimes we can reverse it too. You know, by having people move their bodies, not by prescribing medication as well. You know what I'm saying? So move your body, you know, eat like your arteries are listening because they are. And if something feels off, talk to an actual doctor, you know, instead of a forum. Really get the professional help. And one more thing before I close, right? When we talk about ED, right? I talked about I mentioned something earlier in this video about performance anxiety. A lot of it comes from our mind too, because all is mind, where we're not enjoying the moment. I'm not a relationship coach or anything like that, just being from experience and observation. Sometimes what mess us up in that field or in that area in intimate settings too with ED, one, we're probably not attracted to the person we're with like that. Because I guarantee you, if you put your celebrity crush there, you won't be saluting that attention, right? But also, you probably put too much pressure on yourself to perform well. You're probably worrying about all her other partners, if she ain't a virgin, if the guy was bigger, we keep it a bug. Oh, he was better. You have to suspend all that. That ain't none of your concern. Your concern is enjoying yourself right now in the moment. You have to be present. And I think that would ease your performance anxiety or your ED when it comes to that as well. Because it's mostly a mental thing as well. But you have to take care of yourself. Make sure you eat right. Uh Exercise, manage your stress level, get your sleep before you go on any medication. So keep that in mind too. You know what I'm saying? If you need help in the seductive areas as well, you could reach out to a mentor of mine, cousin T-Tar, and my uncle Ron Wills. I'll put a link in the description as well if that's something you're interested to in the mating, dating, and relating aspect of the game in that area. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, brothers, we really need to take care of ourselves for real. All right. So I hope this makes sense of you. And if you find this message useful, like, comment, and share. And comment, 'cause I love to hear what you guys have to say as well. You know what I mean? And this is nothing to be ashamed of. We need to take our overall health, every aspect of our health seriously, whether it's physical, mental, reproductive health, all of that, because everything is connected. All right. Look at yourself holistically. All right. So it's Alchemy Fitness signing off, where we transfer from that to gold. Train hard, train smart, and train safe. Peace.